What is going on here?
We better
Huh?
gotta stay in shape, baby.
Didn't you just say your back? Okay, you know what? I ain't even gonna bring
Good.
that up online, man. Nope, nope, we good.
On my back, this ain't got
I
nothing to do with
Nope,
my
listen.
back.
we good.
I
Oh,
listen. I don't even want to know.
you better get
Man, you know what I think
strong,
it's
baby.
time.
You
Conspiracy.
know
You know what I
what,
think it's time for.
man? You know what? Just because of that stuff that he doing, man,
Oh,
I don't even want to do this no more.
good
I'm just
pump.
gonna be honest with you, man. You
I'm
know what I'm
saying, man,
saying?
Goblin
So,
Slayer got me all hyped, man. I'm ready like a warrior, man. I'm trying to get warrior status. Oh man, he got me all hyped, baby.
yeah, that's,
And now, this world shall know pain.
Who you saying?
It's time for Anime Fistacuffs! DLC. Who do we have lined up for today?
Woo! What my boy Ric Flair say? Woo! You understand? So this is actually a very interesting episode of Anime Fisticuffs.
Should have done it.
So I have on one hand, on my left hand, I've got Dante from Devil May Cry. You know what I'm saying? Normally I wouldn't pick somebody like this because he's like an anime character slash video game character, but he does have a manga, so I felt like he could ride with us on this one. And then we got Vampire Hunter D. You know what I'm saying? So this is really gonna be between me and Conspiracy. And look, I'm gonna go ahead and take Dante. You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
All right.
I'm gonna let you have Vampire Hunter D.
Oh, this
But
is
I
gonna be
think
good.
before we jump into the I think before we jump into the battle, I think we do need to do an explanation of each character. So just in case you don't know, you know what I'm saying, you'll at least have an understanding. I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Conspiracy, about Vampire Hunter D. Just give them a little brief overview of who he is, just in case they don't
Okay.
know who he is. So it don't have to be all deep.
Old school, oldie but goldie. We're gonna do that soon. Vampire Hunter D starts out as an old school anime movie. Basically, he is a half breed vampire and human. He grows up in an apocalyptic world. Of course, he's like 10,000 years old, so like he grew up a long time ago up until that point. What's so special about Vampire Hunter D is that he is the son, and in his storyline, he is technically the only son of the man, the myth, the legend, Dracula. So that basically makes him the I guess you can like he's basically a myth. People really don't know who he actually is, like his identity in his world. Um, and so from that aspect, it's like okay, that is the only person that was actually born naturally. Not bitten, not a blood transplant, anything like that, transfusion. He's the actual son, from situations,
He's the
between a
original
man and a
Blade.
woman.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like he's the original Blade, basically. Yeah. So
Uh, I can say this about Vampire Hunter D. Like, if you his father conducted many experiments on humans. And matter of fact, it was because his father is the noble of all nobles. People cherish their nobility of their bloodline. You know what I mean? Of being pure blood vampires and things like that. And one of the rules was, not to mix with the humans.
Mm-hmm.
But Dracula didn't care about all that. Dracula didn't care about any of that. They may have had their rules, but he lived his life on his terms. So I will say, that about Vampire Hunter D. And D, doesn't go by Dracula, even though that
no,
initial is D. He
yeah,
goes by D. Vampire
yeah,
Hunter D. And then
Actually, his name is
and so I think
Alucard.
yeah, well, which is Dracula backwards.
Backwards, yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, cool enough, it's Vampire Hunter D. So I'm gonna jump over to my guy. So just in case you don't know who Devil May Cry is, and you don't know who Dante is. Okay, Dante is one of two sons of the legendary demon Sparta. I got to put emphasis. As much as you know about Dracula, and you know how powerful Dracula is, Sparta is basically the devil. I mean, like he's the king of hell. He literally killed the king of hell, basically, and sealed him. You know, finished him. You know, whatever you want to call it. So he literally is basically the devil. And he had two sons. One of them is Dante, another one's Virgil. We're not talking about Virgil, we're talking about Dante. So Dante grows up. For the first 8 years of Dante's life, Dante grew up with his father. His father actually would be in human form. And the reason why his father does what he does is he actually protects humanity from the demon world. We don't know how his father dies, just like we don't know how Dracula dies. You know, I don't think anybody could just kill him. You know, I think, they got to die of natural causes or something else, but I don't think you can kill them. But just immensely powerful. So his father trained him from kid to basically, use swords and guns. And at a certain point in time, his father ends up dying. His mother raises him and a brother, and then demons eventually come. They kill the mom and they split the brothers up. Dante thinks his brother's dead. And, he basically makes it his life mission. Just like how Vampire Hunter D life mission is hunting vampires for the very reason. I don't know what his real reasoning is, because maybe what his dad did jacked him up. He didn't agree with it. But like Dante's motivation is, hey, these demons killed my family, basically. So I'm going to get revenge, even though I'm half demon. So that's who he is. That's a little bit about the setup. So Mr. Conspiracy, so what do you think, man? This is a very hard battle to call, you know what I'm saying, on either front, because their abilities are very similar. A lot of their powers are similar.
So I think it's actually more difficult because of their two universes, which really entails their abilities, right? And then you have one, which is like his half breed. Dante is a
Both
little
half breeds.
different from, yeah. I'm saying like him being a half breed is a little different. Like his half breed is a little different from D's, honestly, in my opinion. But it's it's hard, man, because you really don't see a lot of Vampire Hunter D's abilities unless um, read the novels and things like that. If you just look at the movies, you really can't tell, how far his abilities go unless you actually do the research, read the novels and stuff like that. If you just watch the movies, you won't be able to truly tell. Fact of the matter is, uh, Vampire Hunter D is really powerful. He is what you basically would honestly. He is on the same level as his father when he awakens his actual abilities. Basically when he awakens his bloodline, he's on that level. And so if you see Dracula, as most people do, as I want to say, like the strongest monster, is kind of how they portray Dracula, like the immortal strongest monster to ever live, that type of situation. Like if you look at like Frankenstein's monster and all that type of stuff, like the werewolf man, like from that um, type of universe. To me, the Vampire Hunter D actually is very good with a sword. He has telekinesis. The thing that a lot of people don't know is that his soul exists and does not exist because of the fact that he does not his soul, or his life, I should say, is not in the. I'm trying to make sure that I get the actual wording correctly. The aspects records of life. So technically, when he roams through the world, his existence technically is there and isn't there.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. So that's what really makes him immune to a lot of effects when it comes to magic, things like that. Like when it comes to immortality. So when people say someone's immortal, Vampire D is actually truly immortal when it comes to someone killing him, based on the fact of that he does not actually exist in the aesthetic life records. And because of that, it is actually hard to truly kill him because he's truly considered immortal. This is not even talking about his other abilities, which, if you remember, Magnus Lee, how he actually beat him, but they actually explained that. It's a thing called uh, fount of life. And basically, what that means is that when Vampire Hunter D awakens his bloodline, it actually awakens his innate ability to, I don't want to say like it's on the same effect of slashing through dimensions, but in this case, it's basically slashing through life forms, and that's why Magnus, even though he was like on like God tier level in their universe, that is one of the reasons why he could not actually stop the sword from piercing through his body and his heart, even though he was indestructible throughout the entire movie. Everyone saw him as indestructible. Well, it's because that Vampire Hunter D has this innate ability when he awakens his bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a few other abilities that he has, but I'll leave it at that. Just we can go ahead and get to the
So,
fisticuffs part.
no, there's one more thing I was gonna say. Like, if you
Yeah.
really want to see a close thing about Vampire Hunter D's ability, you could see Castlevania because
Oh yeah, that's true.
Alucard is the closest thing you're going to see to the abilities of Vampire Hunter D, unless you read, like to your point, the manga and the
Yeah,
novels.
no.
Because in
Yeah.
Castlevania, Alucard is juiced. You know what I'm saying? That dude is hard. So so you think, because he, just like him, he's the son and everything. So if you
Yeah.
need a comparison on like fighting now, what I'll say, yo, that's like you said, it's a mountain to climb. Man, Dante, same kind of crazy juiced up power. It's like, first of all, I don't even know if you can actually kill the dude. Okay, because I've seen them pierce his heart. I've seen him get stabbed in the head. I've seen like pretty much any way you think you should be able to kill this dude, and he has literally come back to life. So I don't know. Can you actually kill? Just like I said, I don't even know how they killed his dad. I don't know how his dad died because, like in the world, like in their universe, as far as like immortality, I'm up there with you, Mister Conspiracy. Like this dude didn't been slashed, burnt, cut. I mean, like I don't know how you actually kill him, because he comes back and when he activates his, like you said, his bloodline, when he goes into his demonic form, and he's accomplished some things that not even his father was able to do and he's only half. So I don't, like you said, by their universe standards, like first of all, nobody can kill, as far as I know in Devil May Cry, nobody can kill him. The best thing they could do
Yeah.
is seal him. That was like the
Yeah.
best case scenario. You
Mm-hmm.
could seal him. But even then that didn't hold, when they did in the anime, because the dude was like, we're gonna seal the son of Sparta, we're gonna get it. And that didn't even last because depending on his temperament and his
Right.
power level goes up. So so if you look at these two characters, right? They both have superhuman strength that's out of this
Yeah.
world, right? They both have superhuman healing factors that is out of this world as well. Okay, superhuman stamina, superhuman durability, okay, superhuman speed. You know what I'm saying? You name, if you put them like mirror, side by side comparison to each other, like their abilities are so like they have a few differences. Like Vampire Hunter D has that hand that brought, like he was literally dead. Somebody actually managed to kill him, like, and he resurrected him. So, again, another power set that he had. He came back after he was killed, And again, Dante, because of his bloodline, I don't know how you kill him either because I've seen some crazy stuff. Like I've seen him put swords through almost every part of his body, hold him there, all the blood loss and everything, and the dude still got up, super juiced up, and he wasn't even in his demonic form then. So I don't, like you said, if both of them turned on their bloodlines, like I don't know how you decide who's the most powerful and who's not. Like I don't know, like how do you even judge I don't know how you judge that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's not one
Yeah.
thing. Now, I will say, Mr. Conspiracy, like, now the thing about being both alive and dead simultaneously, like, because you're not in whatever the book of life or whatever it is, like, that might be, maybe that's the key. I don't know. Because, like I said, because I still don't know if you can actually kill Dante. We've both seen both characters get physically wounded, to a degree, but they get back up. Like, the only real weakness that Vampire Hunter D has, but again, my character wouldn't know that, is that too much exposure to too much sunlight, but it only happens every blue moon.
Yeah.
And it only puts him down for a couple of hours instead of days and stuff like that. So I don't really know, like, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe Christopher Robbins, you got any opinion on this? Because I mean, I really don't know where to go. Like to say, oh, this is a win, this is a L. Like I don't know how you say, who is guaranteed stronger. I mean, literally, I don't know. Like I think you might have to help us out. Maybe you put in the comments who you think is stronger because. I mean, Mr. Conspiracy. I mean, can you say who's the absolute winner in this fight and an absolute loser, like without circumstances?
I mean,
And that's the thing. Like,
Since I'm the one that took Vampire Hunter D, I technically shouldn't do this, but it is a crazy situation they would have to be in, and it really has to do more with Vampire Hunter D basically existing and not existing in the aspects of life records. And basically, what that means is almost like, okay, he exists in this realm and another realm. Basically, is how you can go with that. And Dante, depending on what version of Dante you use, Dante actually has the ability to destroy realms. So
yeah.
it depends on what version of Dante we use that could actually be the deciding factor on that.
So circumstance. So back to circumstances.
It'd
Back to
be
circumstance.
back to circumstance. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Like without circumstances, without like you said, without these specific circumstances, it would be really hard to say who's gonna really win that fight, right? Without circumstances, like certain things have to be a certain way for one of them to win this fight. I'm saying if we didn't have that, I don't see how you could say who's the winner and who's the loser. Like it'd be really hard to.
I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. I love both characters. I am not biased either way because I love them both equally. But I will have to say this. This has to be said. If we're talking about killing, that's a whole different thing, right? Because that's just a circumstance type thing at that point, But if you're just talking about just an all-out one-on-one fight, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Dante would actually beat him in an actual one-on-one fight. Because I feel that, not from like a innate ability, stuff like that. I think from just actual combat ability, Dante is actually above Vampire Hunter D when it comes to actual combat ability.
I'm gonna have to agree with Mr. Conspiracy on this one. I mean, it's gonna be a fight. Let's not get it construed.
It's gonna be a fight, yeah.
But I think because usually, and this is the real reason why I agree with Mr. Conspiracy. Vampire Hunter D has he lives for a long time, right? But it's a long stretch where he doesn't really do anything. He's just chilling. From what we see, man, stuff, he just goes from one town. He'll get in big skirmishes. Yeah, he uses powers. And he goes back to chilling for a long time. From what I know, Dante always scrapping. Always. Guns. He didn't.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. That's why I said this fight is tricky for me, right? Yeah. Because technically, Vampire Hunter D has lived a longer life, right?
Yeah,
and
over 10,000 years.
And the thing we don't ever really know about, like the novel, is the amount of how much did his daddy give him, right?
Yeah.
How much did his dad teach him, even if he's an experiment, right? Mm-hmm. At what point, I know when Dante's dad stopped educating him, he was 8 years old. Everything else beyond that, he found a mentor, he got training, things like that, right? Other things come into play for him. But, with Vampire Hunter D, because they don't really address that elephant in the room, like how long after, the experiment happens, how long is he there? How long does his daddy pour into him? Is he just a lab rat? Does his dad actually love him? Is he training him the whole time? Or is he just happy to experiment? You don't, and that's why I say it depends, because if he was with his dad for like, let's say maybe it was 1,000 years, right? And he was training with his father for 1,000 years. But that's a whole different story, on fighting, because like then at that point I'd be like, well, do you really have the advantage? Because, and that's why I said there's a lot of stuff with this, and I really wish, we could get more into the nitty gritty of this fight, because I would love, shout out to Death Battle. Like if y'all hear us on this channel, do Vampire Hunter D versus Dante. if you're hearing me death battle, like I would love to see the fight because like I think there's a lot of nuances here on this fight that it could go depending on, like you said, circumstances or stuff we don't know, like how you would calculate the strength. I mean, because these are, let's be honest, these are two monsters, and like, and if they
Yeah.
existed in the same world, like it's not like they would come in contact with each other. They might come across each other, but they're hunting different things. And so, like, I mean, but man, it would be an awesome battle because I'm thinking, like, if you're talking about fathers who are like the most powerful, Dracula and Sparta, like in that, you know what I'm saying? That's
I'm gonna do that
man.
fight too, actually. Man, tell them to do that fight too, DLC. So go ahead and start with the fathers first.
Dracula,
Yeah, start with that one first. Yeah.
Sparta versus Dracula. Like, like I said, man, it's an interesting fisticuffs, man, because I was thinking, man, I don't know how this gonna go. Like, I've been thinking about this since I put it out there, like, to the team. I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna end, honestly. Like, it could go, it's so many ways to go.
Shoot, let's go and get into it. Let's present your case.
Man, we gonna get with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, I had to let the audience decide on this one, man. I don't really know, like I said, like either one of me could win this fight, like, but I'm gonna let the audience go with this one. I love both characters, so like I'm rooting for both. Technically in the same breath, it's like you want to see it happen, but man, like what a battle that would be, man. Like how many arenas or stages would be destroyed? Both of them got swords, long swords. Dante got some guns on them. They both got these bloodline abilities that their daddies left. Like it's so much, man. Like we could talk about this forever. I don't think like I could come up and just say like, yo, Dante gonna whoop Vampire Hunter D conspiracy. Like I can't even say that with a straight face because that's not like that. Like I'd be disingenuous if I said that. Like yo, I gotta be real on this one. Like I can't call it just a conspiracy. Like you can say what you want, but I can't call this, bro. Like I can't call this fight.
It's circumstance. It all comes down to a circumstance, and in my opinion, because it's kind of crazy because you gave me Vampire Hunter D, right? It's kind of crazy because if it's by circumstance, I think Dante by an edge. If it's really just only by circumstance, Dante by an edge. But that's still not even a guarantee, just because of the godlike abilities that Vampire Hunter D actually does have that we didn't even dive into because we just don't have enough time for that. It would still be really difficult even if Dante starts destroying realms because of the manipulation abilities that Vampire Hunter D has when it comes to manipulating realms. So it would still make that ability of Dante's even difficult for him to actually use to beat him, even just doing that. But I'm not gonna get too complicated. I'm gonna leave it up to the audience down in the comments to decide because that's really crazy. We're gonna need some like God tier experts to go ahead and come on in and let us know what's going on.
We'll have to leave fisticuffs there, man. Yeah, audience, you got to tell us, man, who you loving, Vampire Hunter D or Dante, man. Like put it in the comments, man. Put some thumbs up on who you love, man. And if you got some answers for it, hey, man, thumb down there, man. We'll try and respond to everybody we can. Pooh Bear, I mean, do you got any? I mean, I know you're not in the fight. You're not even necessarily judging it, but like, you got any opinion on this? Before we move on. It's tough. It's tough, man. It's a tough call.
I mean, you got, like you said, Dante's endless fighting, training from his dad. Then you got what you call the devil trigger. He actually could transform into a demon. Like you said, he can reach in to destroy realms. Then you go over there to Vampire Hunter D, and we forgot about his little hand companion. So if he does get beat the hell up, he resuscitates him. God tier power levels from his dad. He is also a proficient sword fighter, so they're both proficient sword fighters. Doesn't Dante use a gun too? I mean, Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, he used.
Okay, so that might be.
You don't need to.
yeah. I mean, shoot, I think he's took
Well, his
several.
telekinesis and stuff like that, like it's
Yeah,
really powerful.
Yeah,
So he really wouldn't need to have one.
because even if he was shooting, Dante was shooting bullets at him, he can just
Yeah,
put his hand up and be
that
like,
is
yeah, it
true.
wouldn't matter. Yeah,
yeah. That's why I say it would come down to sword fighting, but even then, I can't tell you who's going
And both
to win
lightning
that fight.
speed, that's hard. That's rough,
I,
man.
I mean, but you know what? That's the point. That's the point of this, right? It's to let your imagination run wild. Right? Like it's easy when it's a one-sided fight, but like these guys are so equally matched. It's hard to say. Like you said, it's circumstantial, right? Like I don't know. That's why I said I didn't got to decide. That's why I'm asking you, Pooh Bear. Did you actually have a like? You know, if it's for the audience, it's for the audience, man. I'm not
Uh,
mad at that because
but then again, I mean, yeah, but Vampire Hunter D does have 10,000 years. You know, I guess he could tap into all that experience, and then you can say, well, they both got stamina out the wazoo, so it's definitely going to be drawn out.
who got more durability, who got more stamina, who knows, right?
It's
Who
it's,
actually knows the
it's
answer to that?
going to be. I think it's going to come down to combat knowledge, figuring out your opponent's weakness at some point and trying to exploit that. Um, but they both battle geniuses, so it's going to be not checkers but chess. It's going to come, yeah, not checkers. This is a chess fight. This is thinking like,
4D.
yeah, trying to think
Mm-hmm.
20 moves ahead, trying to stay, that much ahead of your opponent, but who also could do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, that oh man,
Yeah. And then you got both of their dads cheering them on in the background, like, "Hey, I want some of this action too." Like, "Hey, let me go see what your daddy about." You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, this is the fun of anime, cartoons, and all of this, right? Like it's the things that I enjoy. It's something you would never ever see in real life.
the
But
hypotheticals.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. But you're getting to let your imagination run wild a little bit on it. So as much anime and manga as we consume, like I can't even answer that, for this fight. So like I said, it's to the audience. I'm gonna leave my piece till we move on to the next segment. But yeah, that's all I got to say, man. Like phenomenal, it's a great battle. Like when you got me thinking all day, you done something right. And it didn't matter about either one because we researching, we trying to find that edge. But man, that this one was a doozy. Like I ain't got enough. I needed months of research, not days. I needed months to be able to dive in. Looking at everything. Like there's no way to call it for me. So that's it.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Midwest Anime Show. Be sure to tune in next week for another hot take served on hot buttered toast of anime delight. Y'all come back now.